All right, so shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to start off by saying Barakatham, Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shah. And I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shah, Bahashim Rakakadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. And shout out to the hopefully elect. So they went to 144,000, shalom. Right, so Lord willing, right, we're going to this lesson through the Spirit. Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shah, will title it, Our Light Will Bring Light to the World. Right? And let's go here. We'll start with let's go here, right? I'm gonna go Deuteronomy chapter 4, right? Because when you understand this light, it was the knowledge, understanding, the wisdom we have by seeing how shot, right? Which when we had it, we were known the perfection of beauty, right? But then when we lost the way, we started walking on in that darkness, which is the what Apostle Kabbalah would say, which is ignorance and stupidity, right? Because that's what's ruling the world, right? Ignorance and stupidity, the wickedness, the darkness, the sin, the lies, the deceit. That's what everybody's caught up in. That's what our nation is caught up in. Following after Esau, Edom, right? Following the ways of Esau, Edom. Right? Matter of fact, before I even go to Lamentations, he was ignorance and stupidity. That's what the apostle called ignorance and stupidity. But let's go here. Let's go to Psalms 82. Right? Go to Psalms 82. Right, in verse 5 it says, they know not, neither will they understand. Speaking of Esau, Edom, because they'll never be understand the knowledge, wisdom, understanding to get close to Yahweh Shah. That's why the Most High speaks to them in Job. He said they grope at noonday, right? He said they grope at noonday. Job 5:12, right? It says, Acts like 14. It says they meet with darkness in the daytime and grope in the noonday as the night, right? That darkness is what? The deceit, the ignorance, stupidity, wickedness, right? They're lost. Right? They're wicked people when they're ruling the earth and got everybody else caught up in the wickedness. Right? Going back to Psalms 82, right? It just says, they know not, neither will they understand. They walk on in darkness. They walk on in stupidity and ignorance. They walk on in wickedness. They walk on in sin, deceit, lies. Right? Psalm 58 says, as soon as they're strange from the womb, as soon as they're born from the womb, they go along speaking lies. Right, so they want to go and speak. That's what they walk in. It's what they live in, right? It says they walk on in darkness, all the finesse of earth out of course, right? Because everything is backwards. Remember the church say he opposer. Opposer. He's the opposite. He's against everything that Yahweh Shah said. He's the opposite, right? And Yahweh Shah brought the light into us. That's why I tell you the lesson, our light, I put the light in all caps, the first light in all caps, because that's the knowledge, wisdom, understanding will bring light to the world. Because this is the dark place, it's the dark kingdom. And when the kingdom of Yahweh Shah come, right, because kingdom going to be here on earth, right? America's going to go down and be destroyed, never come back up again. Israel is going to go down, we're going to make the heathen rebuild up the kingdom of Yahweh Shah. We're going to have kingdom, we're going to be rulers of the earth. And we're going to rule in righteousness. And everybody going to follow the laws and commandments of Yahweh Shah. It's going to be instituted to the whole earth. Right? So, but right now, right, they said they know not, neither will they understand, they walk under darkness, because this goes back to that serpent as well, right? When the Most High cursed that serpent, he said, dust shalt thou eat, right? Dust shalt thou eat, and all thy days thy life. And what do you say? And in thy belly thou shalt go. That belly meaning low place. It don't mean no literal snake, it's called. That meaning low place. But just touching on the point of that dust represents confusion. Like I mentioned, they'll never be able to understand the knowledge, understanding the true 100% truth, and not understanding to get close to Yahweh Shah, or even get close to his elect, man. Right? They didn't know certain things, some things, but they don't know all things. How the Kakadash bring to us all things. Right? You have an unction to know all things. They don't have the unction. They don't have the Holy Spirit. Right? They walk in the darkness, and a lot of Jake walk on in darkness. A lot of Jake are lost. Because let's go back to this. Because before, right? And also it speaks about it in what is that? The book of Judith, right? The book of Judith, it speaks about how Judith chapter 5, right? 17 now speaks about how they know when we in Jeremiah 50 speaks about it as well. When they know that when we not in the light or we not in knowledge, understanding how about Shah, they know that's when they come and get us. That's why Esau pushes this darkness, these lies, the deceit, this stupidity, this ignorance. He good at keeping Jake dumbed down, because when we come to the light, how about Shah, that's when we had our full strength, we had our full power. Right, let's go back. It's like I keep clicking Hosea. Right, let's go to Lamentations 2, right? Verse 15, right? It reads, it says, all that pass by clap their hands at thee. They hiss and wag their head at the daughter of Jerusalem, right? It says, it's saying, is this the city that men call the perfection of beauty? Because that's what we were, right? We were the perfection of beauty, which we're going to get back to that. You know, we walked in the ordinance and the righteousness of Yahweh Shah, you know, and King David, right? And then when, you know, when Solomon went off, right? You know, Most High written the kingdoms, right? But understanding going into it, we were that perfection of beauty, right? The joy of the whole earth, right? We letting that light shine. You know, everybody seen the stature and the respectness of our people, how we carried ourselves. You gotta think. You had people who were established before, the Egyptians, the Canaanites, right? It was wicked. That's why when we came into that land, the Most High told us not to do those things, those dark, deceitful, evil things, right? You know. Matter of fact, ask chat something. I got a chat GPT app. How is darkness? Let me see. I'm gonna say, can you tell me the comparison? I think I want to ask. And wickedness. Why are they? Let's just see what it says. I'm trying to think of a way to ask him, but let's see what it says right here. Okay, that's what I wanted. This is in the Bible. Darkness and wickedness are closely connected. And that's actually saying blah, blah. Right? Darkness often represents a spiritual condition, being separated from Yahweh, lacking truth, living in ignorance, deception, or sin. Right? Wickedness refers to the action, thoughts, and intentions that oppose Yahweh. Right? And this is all go hand in hand. Right? Darkness, you know, represents a condition of being separated from Yahweh, lacking truth, living in ignorance, and deception, or sin. This is what the earth is covered in darkness, right? Matter of fact. Right, we're gonna come back to Lamentations. Let's go here, Revelation real fast. All right, Revelation 16:10, it says, and the fifth angel poured out his vial upon the seas of the beast, and his kingdom was full of darkness. Right, his kingdom was full of darkness, right? And they yawn their tongues for pain. Right, this kingdom is full of darkness, man. Right? You know, this is what his kingdom is. This kingdom is full of darkness, man. Right? So the light of Yahweh Shem outside, knowledge, understanding Yahweh Shem outside, gonna bring righteousness, gonna bring light to this place. Which Yahweh came at, Yahweh brought the light into his elect. Right? Let's go to the book of St. John. Right, John chapter 12. We start at verse 44. It says, Yahweh cried and said, he that believeth on me, believeth not on me, but on him that sent me. It's rare that Yahweh talking. Right? He said, believe not on me, but on him that sent me. And he that seeth me, seeth him that sent me, right? It says, I am come a light into the world, that whosoever believeth on me should not abide in darkness. Right? It says in the NLT, it says, I have come as a light to shine in this dark world. Right? What did Yahweh came? He brought the knowledge and understanding. Right? He brought the 100% truth. Right? He brought us back that way. Right? Bring that shining light. And that's why the scripture, I think it's John 14, or what is it? Might not be John 14, but it's a scripture that speaks about, said, let our light shine forth. Right? You know? Matter of fact, I want to read this. John 12:35. Right? It says, Yahweh shall reply, my light will shine for you just a little longer. Walk in the light while you can, so the darkness will not overtake you, the wickedness, deceit, the ignorance, the stupidity. Because that's what's covering this whole earth. Esau got everybody covering this. That's why he was so happy when we fell. Because now he's able to deceive and trick and make everybody live in his way. Revelation 17 speaks about Apostle John seeing how everybody was laying in bed with this wicked woman, right? This whore, right? Which is America, Babylon, right? Everybody caught up in the fornication of Babylon, right? It says, so the darkness will not overtake you. Those who walk in darkness cannot see where they're going, right? They don't understand where they're going. He said, put trust in your light, put trust in the knowledge and wisdom, understanding how about Shah while there is still time. Then you become children of the light. And that's what we are, children of the light. And his light is navigating us back to the kingdom, right? This knowledge, wisdom, understanding is navigating us back to the kingdom in this dark place. See, Jake lost out here. That's why he don't know where he's going. That's why Jake going to this church, that church, Jake in this religion, that religion, Jake doing cupping this, heathen, that heathen. They lost. They don't know where they're going, but we letting the light, the knowledge, understanding through the spirit and power of Yahweh navigate us back to the kingdom, man. Right? You know, and when the kingdom comes, this light Right, the light, this light, and I understand it, it's gonna bring light to the whole world, because everybody gonna, the heathen gonna, they gonna Isaiah 2 gonna, Lord, we're gonna grab it. They gonna, they gonna flock into us to learn the ways. They don't have no choice, because hey, and it's gonna be instituted to the whole earth. We're gonna rule them with a rod of iron. Those first 1,000 years, we're gonna be on them. We're gonna be on them, teaching them laws and commandments of Yahweh Shah. If they break them, they're gonna be judged righteously too, because this is a righteous kingdom, right? So we gotta, it's a righteous kingdom. So we gotta bring that light to get rid of this darkness, the wickedness that's going on here, right? So let's go back to Lamentations, right? Yeah, I read John 12:46, right? It's a light shine. I come a light into the world. Yahweh Shah brought it, knowledge and understanding to us, right? So let's go back to Lamentations, right? Because we lost our way. We got covered in darkness, right? And the nations was happy, right? So it says, let's start verse 15 again. It says, all that pass by, clap their hands at thee, they hiss and wag their head at the daughter of Jerusalem, saying, is this the city that men call the perfection of beauty, the joy of the whole earth? Right? The joy of the whole earth. This is what they say. This is what they were saying to us, right? And which we were, right? It says, all thine enemies have opened their mouth against thee. They hiss and gnash their teeth. They say, we have swallowed her up. Certainly, this is the day that we look for. We have found, we have seen it, right? Because if you had these other nations, they was bugged out. But go back to Deuteronomy. Most High gave us laws and commandments for us not to do with these other nations, right? Deuteronomy 4, starting verse 6, it says, actually verse 5, it says, behold, I have taught you statutes and judgment, even as the Lord Yahweh, my power commanded me that you should do in the land where you go possess it. That's when you go into that spirit, when the Most High put that spirit into man, going back to Adam. He made man upright, gave man laws, right? He gave us laws for that to be out here just sloppy, not to be out here like brute beasts. So you saw them, they beasts, they're like wild animals, man. We have order. He gave men order, he gave us order, right? And now that light is back into us, that order is back into us, right? Which is navigating us back to the kingdom. That's why I told him in Luke, right? The kingdom coming out of observation. The kingdoms are within you, right? That's that order coming back, that light coming back, that light shining forth, right? It says, which is this knowledge, wisdom, understanding, that inner rule, right? The true king ruling our heart. Yahweh shall truly rule us, right? It says, keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations, right? We shall hear all these statutes and say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people. For what nation is there so great, with hath Yahweh so nigh unto them, as Lord Yahweh our power is in all, man, I hate when this thing do that, is in all things that we call upon him for, right? Dope. So, and this is what's going to get back to, how everybody knew how to play with it. Our people, or what the Most High did to Pharaoh, when he do the same thing to Babylon, right, they going to know. Our light going to bring light to the whole world. They're going to know the Cleveland's what. They're going to know not to play this again. They're going to want to learn the way. Once they see Armageddon and how Yahweh shall come and destroy this place, right? Yahweh shall come destroy this place, and the heathen, the ones who survive, they're going to know to come learn the ways and the laws and commandments of Yahweh shall. Because they ain't going to want to never break them. They ain't going to never go against them. If they do break them, guess what? They're going to be judged according to, because it's the kingdom of righteousness. We ain't going to be out here Esau, Edom, just doing shit, wilding. Right? Yeah, we're going to be on their head. Don't get me wrong, we're going to be on their head for sure. Right? But stand at it, right? So, when we lost the light, the knowledge, understanding, the wisdom, right? We lost that way. That's when darkness overtook our people, right? And, ultimately, Esau, Edom is the ruler of this place and got everybody caught up in it, right? Remember, I quoted it to you, right? But I'll grab it real fast. Judah 5, and also it's in Book of Jeremiah 5, 50, Book of Jeremiah 50 and verse 7, how it speaks about it. They say, we have done that wrong, because they sinned against their power. Right? Let's go to this, Judah chapter 5, straight to the point. Verse 20, it says, now therefore, my Lord and governor, if there be any error against his people, talking about the people of Israel, they sin against their power, right, which is that darkness, right, let us consider that this shall be their ruin. Let us go up, we shall overcome them. That's what they seen. The darkness overtook Jake, and guess what? Most High brought a punishment upon us. Let another nation, and this one, the other nations knew to come get us. They clowned us. Oh man, these supposed to be the peasant beauty. Look, y'all supposed to be y'all supposed to be the bell. We done took y'all down. Y'all wicked, y'all, right? Right. But verse 21 says, but if there be no iniquity in their nation, we walk in that order, walk in that understanding, walk in that wisdom, that my Lord not pass by, lest their Lord defend them, and their power be for them, and we become a proof for all the world. Right? Because when we walk in that orders there, right, where that light shines forth, they can't come get us. You know how a light so bright, somebody trying to come like a car in your eyes, you have to cover up. You know, you have to put your hand over your face because you can't see. Right? That's how we got lights. They can't see us in the metaphorical sense. Like, they're going to be able to see us, but they can't touch us. They can't get next to us. I know a brother watched wrestling with, I know when he was young, he used to watch wrestling with John Cena. He used to do the "you can't see me" thing. It basically means like you can't mess with me. You can't touch me. You can't overcome me. You can't overpower me. You can't do nothing to me. You can't see me, man. Right? That's how we going to be. Because our light going to shine forth. Our light going to bring light to the whole world. Right? When we back into our first estate, those spiritual bodies, man, we back into the true powers that we was made to be immortal, right? Righteous and pure, right? You know, cleansed, right? You know, right? So let's go here. Let's go back here. Let's go to Isaiah 60 and 2. I'm already at it. Right? Isaiah 60. We'll start at verse 1. It says, "Arise and shine, for thy light is come." Right? Because Yahweh came and brought that knowledge, wisdom, understanding to us. And the glory of the Lord Yahweh is risen upon thee, risen upon the elect. Right? It says, "For behold, the darkness shall cover the earth, wickedness, sin." We still got to put up. Right? Being separated from Yahweh, lacking truth, living in ignorance, deception, or sin. This was covering the whole earth. Right? He says, "In gross darkness of people." Jake is caught up in it. Ultimately, this whole world caught up in it, but I'm speaking to our nation. Jake is caught up in it, man. Jake is gross darkness. They walk in the dark. Esau already walk in the darkness. Guess what? They following after the ways of Esau Edom. They following after the ways of Esau Edom. They listen to what Esau Edom say for listen to the prophets. We telling you Israelites, no, I'm African American. Well, they said, the church, this and that. Oh, we supposed to, come on, man. They confuse, they deceive. Right? They walking on the darkness. They caught up in the dark. They gross darkness. This is what Esau, walk on in darkness, right? It says, "But the Lord Yahweh shall rise upon thee, rise upon the elect. His glory shall be seen upon thee." Right? That's when we're going to be changed to spiritual bodies. And that knowledge, wisdom, understanding written in our hearts and mind. And that light going to shine forth to the whole earth. As it read right in verse 3, "And the Gentiles," meaning the other nations, "shall come to thy light." Right? Because they're going to see the statue. They're going to see the how we back to what we used to be, that perfect nation, that beauty of the whole world, right? Our light gonna shine forth, right? It says, "And kings to the brightness of thy rising." That's what it's gonna be, right? It says in verse 3 how it says, "All nations will come to your light, mighty kings will come to see your radiance," man. Right? Let's go to Isaiah chapter 2 real fast. Right? It's Isaiah chapter 2 and let's start at verse 2. It says, "It shall come to pass in the last days, the mountain of the Lord's house." And that's refers like the rulership of the government. Because you have Yahweh, King David, you have the 12, you have the elect that govern the body. Right? It says, "Of the Lord Yahweh's house shall be established on the top of the mountain." That's another metaphor for like rulership, or, we're going to be exalted, right? It shall be exalted above the hills, right? Another metaphor for rulership. We're going to be the top of the earth. We're going to rule everything. We're going to rule the whole earth, right? And all the nations shall flow into it. Right? All nations going to flow into it. Right? That's what it says. "And many people shall go and say, Come ye, and let us go up to the mountain of the Lord Yahweh, to the house of the power of Jacob. And he will teach us of his ways, and we will walk in his path. For out of Zion shall go forth the law, and the word of the Lord Yahweh from Jerusalem." Right? So, because why? The law is going to be instituted to the whole earth. Because why? That light, it ain't going to be no more darkness. There going to be no wickedness. Right? So they ain't going to have no choice but to what? To learn the light. And they're going to see the stature of our people. They're going to see the stature of us. Spiritual man, power man, built man, right? Strong man, right? And they're going to know not to ever try to come up against our nation, our people again. They're going to know never not to come up against Yahweh Shai or his people ever again. That light going to bring light to the whole world, this dark place. Right? We're going to bring light to it, righteousness to it, right? So let's do this, right? Yeah, that's a good precept. Ephesians 5:8. "For ye were sometimes in darkness, but now ye are light in the Lord. Have no fellowship with unfruitful works of darkness." Right? So this is what we come back to. That light we have by Siyah Shai, right, is bringing what? We're bringing it's bringing light to the whole world. Get rid of that wickedness, because Peter saw it, right? The kingdom of righteousness, right? And this what I was going to go to, right? But I'll read this as well. John 8:12. "I am the light of the world. He that follows me shall not walk in darkness." But Jake don't follow the Yahweh, follow Esau Edom. But when it start beginning with the elect, when that light shine forth, right, it's going to bring light to the whole world. And we going to have to teach our nation Allah's experience no more, because we written in our hearts and mind. But the whole world going to see it, and they're going to flow into it. right? Because this light, which is the knowledge, wisdom, understanding of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, right? You see light, truth, righteousness, life, and Yahweh's present, right? It's gonna bring light to the whole world, and everybody gonna see it, and everybody gonna bow down to it, right? So let's go to Isaiah 42. I don't know why that moving right there. Isaiah 42, right? I'm gonna read verse 1 and I'm gonna jump now just so you know, confusion, right? It says, behold my servant, whom I uphold, talking about Yahushua, mine elect, in whom my soul delighteth. I have put my spirit upon him. He shall bring forth judgment to the Gentiles, right? So let's jump down to verse 6. It says, I, the Lord Yahweh, have called thee in righteousness, because Yahweh gave Yahushua everything in righteousness, right? And will hold thine hand and will keep thee and give thee for a covenant of the people, for a light of the Gentile. This Gentile is talking about who? Right? Talking about the Israelite foreigners, right? Because Yahushua brought that light into us to get us out that darkness, right? So now Yahushua bring that light into us, right? And when that light is instituted right now, the elect are being built up through that light. That light is navigating us back into the kingdom, right? And when that light is instituted within us, right, which is knowledge, wisdom, understanding, going to say covenant, our laws, commitments written in our hearts and minds, it's going to shine forth to the whole world, through all our people. Because you got to think, that's why the elect, that's why the Most High right now, he's letting the elect shine forth, right? And then all Israel brought to the kingdom, but some the 2/3 gonna be going back through the elect seed, so that light gonna be replenished, and it's gonna bring light to the whole world, man. Right? That's why Michael chapter 4 speaks about. He said, everyone walking the way of their God, because we're going to be gods over the people, the elect. We're going to be rules over them, right? And we will have to teach our children or our family. We have to teach the 2/3, because that light will already be in them, and it's going to shine to the whole, or it's the covenant, it's the light that Yahushua brought into us from the beginning. Well, ultimately brought into the elect, right? Which is ultimately going to spread into the whole nation when we're in the kingdom. But right now, that light is guiding the elect to the kingdom, right? And that light, and when the kingdom is established, that light going to bring light to the whole world. That righteousness, right? You know, Yahweh's present, right? Truth, right? You know. So let me see. I want to go 2 Peter chapter 1, right? Verse 19, right? It says we have a more sure word of prophecy, right? Because the prophecy is sure. We know it's going to happen, right? It says whereunto ye do well that ye take heed, as unto a light, right? It's not losing understanding that shines in the dark place, because this place is darkness, right? Until the day dawn, until this day go down, and the day star, which is Yahushua, rise in your hearts, right? I want to read it in the NLT. It says, because of that experience, we have an even greater confidence in the message proclaimed by the prophets, right? You must pay close attention to what they wrote, for their words are like a lamp that shineth in the dark place, right? It's knowledge, wisdom, understanding, right? It's shining in this dark place, and it's shining through the elect, right? You know, you have the prophets prophesy and teach you the word, teach you the truth, right? You know, and that's why the scriptures say, let your light shine forth, because ultimately this is the elect. Those are the ones, Isaiah 13:2. Those are the ones who setting that standard, right? Those are the ones who raising the banner like a flag, which is Bible, this word, this truth. They're the ones who setting that standard of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. That's why they're gonna receive the first dominion in the kingdom, right? And in the kingdom, the light gonna shine forth unto the whole world. Everybody gonna know it, right? It says, like words like a lamp shining in a dark place until the day dawns. So this kingdom goes down, right? Day refers to the kingdom. So this kingdom goes down, and Yahushua, the morning star, shines in your hearts, right? You know, and that's what's gonna be, because Yahushua was that one who brought the light, right? Yahushua was the one who brought that light into us in this dark place, and ultimately, when first he brought the light into us, right? The light is in the elect, is leading the elect back to the kingdom. And when we get into the kingdom, guess what? That light gonna be instituted to the whole earth, right? And all Israel gonna have the light. It's gonna be instituted in. It's gonna be entered into their heart, into our hearts and minds. So the light gonna shine forth. We're gonna bring light to the whole world, man. Everybody gonna know it, right? Let's go to Revelations 21. And this is what a lot of people be confused in these scripts. They don't understand. Yahushua only came for Israel. Right? When I'm meaning with the other nations, and I read Isaiah 2, the other nations are going to be our slaves, but they're going to have to follow the light. They're going to have to follow the knowledge, understanding of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. They're going to have to follow the laws, commandments of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. If they break them, they're going to be judged according to, right? Because this light going to be stacked. They're going to know not to play, right? They're going to know not to play. He said they're going to flow into it. We're gonna be built. We're gonna be statured, man. Right? They're gonna Isaiah 16:3, right? They're gonna see how the Most High made us into these righteous people. How he built us up to these righteous people. We supposed to be from the beginning when we got caught up in that darkness. Right? Ain't it supposed to be perfection and beauty, the joy of the whole earth? We're gonna be back to that, and they're gonna know not to ever play with us again, right? If you know not to go against nobody, or you know not to go against nobody, or try to come up against or reject them, what you gonna do? You gonna go on to them and tell them, hey, what I need to do, man, so we can stay at a good standpoint. That's what we're gonna tell them. You ain't gonna keep the laws and commandments. It's gonna be instituted to the whole earth, right? You break it, and we bring that light to the whole earth. That's why we get rid of Esau, Edom. In America, this dark place never coming back up again. After those 1,000 years in the kingdom, right, we're going to let the other nations go back to their lands. Because by that time, we're going to be more lenient with them. Right, they're going to be learn the laws, commands, Yahweh, right? But Esau, we tying them up, burning them away. Ain't going to be no place for no wicked, dark people in our, when I mean dark, I mean the wicked, not skin color, skin tone. I mean the wickedness. How they spiritually wicked. How they deception sinful, right? Liars. Ain't going to be no place for them because it's a light. Shine forth is bright, righteousness, truth, right? What definitely light said? Truth, righteousness, life. Y'all is present, right? And ain't gonna be no in his kingdom, right? Ain't gonna be no need for what? Deception, sin, separation from him. Ain't gonna be no need for that. Ain't gonna be none of that. So it ain't gonna be no need for Esau to be there. Because he getting up out of there. The other nations, quote unquote, you get like a second chance to get it right. You can follow the laws, hey, you be good. We ain't gonna be no people out here shoot people in the streets because we got the power in our hand. No, we ain't gonna do this. The kingdom of righteousness. Your light gonna shine forth. They're gonna see. Just how when Solomon had ruled, how everybody used to come to the kingdom, how it was beautiful. We're gonna be 10 times beautiful. It's gonna be way more glorious than that, man. So they Revelation 21 and 24, right? All right, so we'll start at verse 23. It says, and the city had no need of the sun, neither of the moon to shine in it. For the glory of Yahweh did lighten it, and the Lamb is the light thereof. Who's the Lamb? Yahweh Shah, right? That morning star, right? It says in the nations of them, because we're being built up to the spiritual man through the spirit and probably how about Shem Shah, the Rakadas. The Holy Spirit comes into the Rakadas comes into the elect. This was navigating us to the kingdom, right? Right? And now, as I was mentioning, right, in the kingdom, this light gonna bring light to the whole world, right? Bring light to the whole earth, right? So let's continue to read on. It says, and the nations of them which are saved shall walk in the light of it, and the kings of the earth do bring their glory and honor to it, right? Because they're gonna see the stature, they're gonna see how righteous the man how about Shia. Don't mean everybody gonna be saved. No, it's not talking about that. Meaning Isaiah gonna refer back to Isaiah chapter 2. They're going to flow into it. They're going to tell us, teach us your ways, teach us your law, right? Isaiah 60 and 2, right? They're going to see the stature of our people, our land, right? We're going to rule everywhere, right? So they don't have no choice but to follow the laws and commandments of Yahweh Shem Shah, right? Verse 25 says, and the gates of it shall not be shut all by day, for there shall be no night there. They shall bring the glory of the honor of the nations unto it, and there shall in no wise enter into anything that defileth, neither whosoever worketh abomination or maketh a lie, but they which are written is the Lamb book of life. We read verse 24 down in NLT. Excuse me. Right, it says the nations will walk in his light. Right? Walking in knowledge, understanding how his light gonna light up the whole kingdom, man. I don't know where to put it, light up the whole world. Right? This knowledge, wisdom, understanding, this truth, this righteousness. It's gonna be instituted to the whole earth. And the other nations ain't gonna have no choice but to follow it. They're gonna want to follow it because they're gonna know not to come up against us. Right? And the kings of the world will enter into the city in all their glory. No, it ain't mean they're gonna be saved. We're gonna be in the kingdom. No, they're gonna be our slave. They just gonna have to follow the laws and commandments of Yahweh Shem Shah. They're gonna flow into it. Right? Its gates will never be closed at the end of the day because there is no night there, and the nations will bring their glory and honor into the city. Nothing evil will be allowed to enter. So Esau, you can't come. It's simple. That should already show you that, these other council teaching just how he's afraid of the other nation. No, Esau's wicked. He's evil. The so-called white man, he's evil. So he can't come. It says, nor anyone who practices shameful idolatry and dishonesty, but only those whose names are written in the Lamb's book of life, beginning with the nation of Israel, beginning with the elect, man, right? And that light of Yahweh Shem Shah is gonna bring light to the whole world, man, You know, we're going to bring light to the whole world. We're going to bring light to this wicked, dark place, right? We're going to get it back right, right? We're going to receive the kingdom of righteousness, right? Let's bring this out. Take Peter 3, straight to the point, verse 13. So, nevertheless, we, according to this promise, right, look for new heavens and new earth wherein dwell righteousness. That's the light. Wherein dwell righteousness, man. That's where we're going to dwell in the whole earth, righteousness, man. You know? And that righteousness is going to be instituted into the whole earth, right? So with that being said, Lord willing, right, hope the lesson was edifying and exalting. And I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Kakadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. And shout out to the hopefully let, starting with the 141,000. Shalom.